Hi, everybody. Welcome. We're just going to give it another minute here and let some more people get in, and then we will get started. We muted. Beautiful house.
Thank you.
How long have you been living there now? A couple months?
In June. Yeah, middle of June.
Did you get a fence up in the back for the dog?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good.
Dog is fence. Very right when we moved in.
Did you go horizontal or vertical with the boards?
Vertical on the sides and the back. Just did a wrought iron see-through fence in the back.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's nice. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I am Carrie Montoya. I am the marketing coordinator here at Adair, and I will be moderating and answering questions for you guys. So if anybody has any questions during the webinar, go ahead and use the Q&A feature or the chat feature. And I'm going to turn it over to Heidi.
Hi, everyone. I'm Heidi. I'm the Design Options Coordinator for Adair Homes, and we have today with us Josh Biggs, who is our VP of Sales and Marketing here at Adair, and he has just gone through the home building process with Adair, so we're going to talk to him about that today. So here is the home that Josh has built. It is the Bannock home. So here's Josh and his lovely wife and daughter Aubrey, and the dog's name is?
Charlie.
Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. So you've been here at Adair for 10 years.
I have, yeah. Well, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. It's an honor to be able to talk about my experience and share with everyone. I been with Adair for 10 years and started off managing the mortgage company, and I've been on the Adair Homes sales side for the last 9 years and lead our sales and marketing teams across our four states that we do business in.
Awesome. Awesome. So what brought you to building a home like right now? What were kind of the circumstances that made you want to build finally?
Yeah, it's a good question. We my daughter, she just turned 11, and this last year she was in 5th grade in school, and so she's transitioning. We lived in a great home right across from our elementary school that she went to elementary school at, and she was moving to a middle school, which is going to be, it wouldn't be quite as conveniently located. So that was one factor. Another factor was that my wife's father, so my father-in-law was, he's at a point in his life where we, he's had some health issues, and we wanted to make sure that we wanted to take care of him and help. And the house we were in just wasn't large enough to fulfill that. So we, and then also we actually, I've always wanted to build an Adair home. And actually it's a I don't know if it's embarrassing, but I've been with Adair for 10 years, and I actually haven't built a home with it through Adair. And I've walked through thousands and thousands of homes, but had never actually built myself and gone through the process. So I really wanted to experience that. And I think for a lot of people, it's not just one thing. It's a convergence of multiple things changing in your life that drives you to make a decision to build a house.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I'm excited to hear more about your journey here, because some of the things that Josh went through have become new processes for us. So we'll go into that. So how long did the process take for you from start of writing your home order to the complete build?
Well, so we bought, we started our contract and we started construction in November of this last year, 2019, and we moved in the middle of June, and which is because that's 7 months from actually pouring the foundation to build the house. And however, part of that is that we had the COVID shutdown for 6 weeks or 7 weeks. So our actual entire build process would have been less than 6 months, and had had we actually not had the COVID situation, would have been 5.5 months. So moved really quickly. It something that I'm proud of, and makes my neighbors a little bit frustrated, is that it's in a subdivision that has other homes that are in construction, other custom homes, and my house started after my two neighbors, and our house is completed. And one of my neighbors' actually house isn't even complete yet. So
wow.
something I'm really proud of, the fact that we were able to move through the process that quickly.
That's great. So you are in a subdivision. A lot of our buyers and builders have property, so that's a little different. Did you run into any kind of homeowner association kinds of things that you needed to think about, or submit designs or that kind of thing for that area?
Yeah, so we, our process was that we made the decision we wanted to do something, and that was the first step. And then we actually found the subdivision, found the lot that we wanted to build in, and then decided that we needed to, we had to sell our existing house. And so we put an offer on the land and said, okay, we're going to put an offer in with contingent on the fact that we'd sell our house. But we put our house up for sale, and it sold the very first day. And we weren't really, part of me was thinking it wasn't gonna, maybe it wouldn't happen. And but then it sold first right away. So we started that process, and we did have to navigate through homeowners association requirements. So there was requirements to build in subdivisions. Our house had to meet certain criteria. We had to go through the jurisdictional process with the city that we were building in, that we had to navigate. We had to take that into consideration, and then we had ran into a few challenges just with the subdivision getting to a point where we could start our house. We had building permits approved, but the subdivision we were building in didn't have some of the improvements completed, so it took
like roads and
weren't 100%. So we were delayed a little bit. So our 3 months in an apartment turned out to be about a year in an apartment because of that. Not because of the Adair process. It was because of things outside of the control of our control as a Adair, or even out of my control as a builder. And I think that's going into it. I think one of the questions on there on that first slide was around preparedness, and I think that's part of it that helped me through that process, is that I always know there's things outside of our control. There's things that happen that I had to be prepared for, just mentally, and ultimately they did happen, and we were able to navigate it. Just took a little extra time.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Things happen, and unexpected things happen, and how well you navigate through that process and getting through just with a positive attitude is going to make a big difference.
So Josh, Michelle actually wanted to know if Adair helped you find the lot.
They didn't. The way that we found the lot was actually how a lot of customers find love their lots, is that. So our first step was really getting pre-qualified for financing. We went through, figured out what our budget was going to be. We knew we were going to sell our house, so we wouldn't have that payment. So we had to figure out, okay, what do we qualify for? What are we comfortable with our payment being as well? Because it's not necessarily just what you qualify for; it's what you want to pay. And we estimated what it would be for the sales team. Actually, our branch here helped estimate what the site development cost would be, and I got a approximate estimate of what the house would be. So then that left us a budget for our land, and we knew approximately what that would be. So then, my wife actually, she was running, so she was out looking around, driving neighborhoods, and doing work, and found it on her own.
Oh, great. Yeah, I think that's pretty common. I think a lot of people find land on Craigslist or through our realtor partners. So there's lots of ways to find them. Just even talking to friends, Somebody might have a piece of property that they're just sitting on and nobody knows about it.
Yeah, we had a realtor that helped us sell our house that helped us actually a little bit, but it really was through just Zillow, through different web, just going online and searching and looking for new neighborhoods, and you just came about the property.
Yeah, perfect. So how did your family decide on the Bannock?
Well, we wanted a ranch because Grandpa was moving in. We wanted a single-story home. We liked the modern look of the Bannock, and we So that's what we knew that going in. That it started with that plan. We knew we needed to add. We made some customizations to it. We had estimated just approximately what that would be. And however, we weren't entirely sure it was going to be the Bannock. It may have been a different plan. This was before we actually found the land, because a lot of times if you're building on 10 acres and it doesn't matter what size of house or that you can fit on the lot or on the land, then you can be more certain about the home you're going to build. But for us was, if we're building it, we're looking in a subdivision. So the size of house that can fit on a lot in a subdivision can vary. So we weren't entirely sold on, hey, it was going to be the Bannock. We just liked the plan. But once we actually we found the lot and knew what the dimensions would be, we realized the Bannock would work with some modifications. But we really liked the modern elevation. We like the tall ceilings in the house, having we like that big, the kind of open feeling, and the Bannock met that.
Yeah, I think you made a nice touch with the double front doors too. That's a really good statement look. So here's the plan. I'm going to use the little pointer. Maybe Josh, you want to share kind of some modifications that you did for your father-in-law and that kind of thing?
Yeah. So you'll notice on the plan that we have.
You want to drive? Oh.
Sure, I can drive. Yeah. So in fact, I'll annotate here. I'll just draw. So our house fits exactly in the actual building envelope of the land, meaning that you can only build on a certain aspect of a lot. So we have setbacks on either side, and the back and the front. So we fit the house and design the house to fit exactly. To the point you can actually see this back wall here kind of etched in a little bit because our setback was like right here. So we used pretty much the entire building envelope. So that was one aspect of it. But we knew that there's a few things that were really important to us. That we wanted to incorporate into our home. And this is a Bannock plan. So this plan actually on our website, it's in the Riata collection. It's a 2449, but our actually square footage ended up being 31, just under 3,200 square feet. So we went through what we call our design kind of concept design services path, which is because you can pick a plan off of our website, make some minor modifications to it, but we have a different process where we can do a custom home from scratch, or we can do more significant modifications. So we did that path where we pay a deposit. We met with our drafting team. My wife came in, we sat down, and we kind of redlined the plan and made changes to the actual Bannock plan itself to meet what we wanted. So that was the path that we took because we needed a very specific square footage and size for our lot.
Yeah.
Some of the things that we really wanted was important to us. We said, okay, like what's our personal value list? What's the most important? We wanted to have a open living space. We wanted to have a space for grandpa. We wanted outdoor living. And of course we wanted an office and a few other elements, but those were the most important aspects of it. So so a few modifications to it that added the square footage is that you can see in the back of the house, we added this grandpa's area. So which consists of, it's a room, it has a kitchenette, kitchenette. It has a bathroom with a roll-in for a shower for like a wheelchair. We actually have a washer and dryer stackable in there and a closet for him. And it actually has a door that goes into our main living area. But he also has a door out here. And then we actually have a path on the outside of our house that walks all the way to the front, so he can actually come and go out of his space. So he has his independence. But he also we can open the door and he can come in and spend time with our family, which is important to us. So that was one modification that we made. We also extended the back of the house out to create this outdoor living area. So this is our great room. This was all expanded out this way, kind of north on the screen here. And so this is a covered patio. So we created this integrated covered patio area where we could spend time outside with a fireplace. game nights with our family, that type of thing outside. We can entertain friends and family as well. But we also have a large great room with which we expanded the island so we can have seating around it. So we envision this idea of friends and family enjoying the indoor space, grandpa coming in to enjoy it with us. And that's really what the entire design of our house was around that. We also made some other more minor modifications, made a larger walk-in closet area. We made some modifications to the utility room here. And but that was really it.
Okay. Well, let's take a look at some more pictures.
Okay. There you go.
Are those bars on everybody's screen or just ours?
Just ours.
Just yours. Oh, okay. Sorry. So this is a picture of the kitchen, and so on the right we have some things listed. You did mention the expanded island, so you have a large island with open seating. The gourmet appliance package is what you put in the home. You extended the upper cabinets because of the high ceiling, and that gives added storage. You chose a wine rack over there on the left-hand side. That's really nice with a wine fridge underneath it. So some of those things make for a really nice entertaining space. You picked some upgraded plumbing packages, and then the lighting. We thought we'd chat about the lighting. So that isn't one of our standard light fixtures there over the island.
Yeah, we did that later. So it's lighting is such a personal thing, and there's so much that there's so many choices, and we like the Adair standards, but it's something that we actually purchased and installed afterwards ourselves. With those, most of the lights in the house are standard, just Adair options that we've selected, but a few elements, including the pendant lights above the island, were options that we just decided to do ourselves after the house was complete. A few other notes is that for the most part we picked standard options, so those are standard cabinets. Paint color, that's standard, both the island and the cabinets in the rest of the house. Also the countertops, so the quartz countertops are standard, that's our standard colors that we offer. And the customizations we made to the cabinets are something that any customer can do. And the built-in wine rack is just it's a customization request, but it can be done by any customer. The flooring actually was, it's not a standard that we have, but so we have a customization process, a custom option process. So we use Shaw flooring, and this flooring that we chose for our home is actually, it's just another color within the same product line that we offer standard. So we can do customization as long as with or custom product options, as long as the product choice is with Shaw and within what we can actually execute.
Yeah, we use our partnership.
Yeah, so this was just a different color, but it's something we can get. And same with the backsplash, tile backsplash. That's a standard subway tile backsplash that's available.
So one more thing about the lighting and things in general is a lot of times people will use the standard lighting and put it in and then decide to upgrade later on. So just over time, you kind of find things, or you think about what you want. So when you are building a house and trying to do that, think about where you want to put lights eventually too. So they can put a light box there to make it really easy to install it later.
Very true. Yeah.
So and then you can always donate the other fixtures, to Habitat for Humanity, or find another use for them.
Sure.
So you did a lot of built-in cabinetry throughout the house too, for added storage and really nice looking spaces. So this is still our standard cabinet company. They just can do a lot more things than people see all the time.
Yeah, this was just a request that I made, and any customer can make the same request to have built-in cabinets within their living room. We also the floating shelves above was from our cabinet company as well. That was part of what they can execute on. And then you can see in the utility room is that as well. That's a
like a mudroom bench.
Little mudroom bench coming in from the garage, and put a cabinet on either side of the window, and then put the area down there, which we actually have all of our shoes underneath that. And then opposite that, we did a countertop and a cabinet and area to hang clothes as they're drying on the opposite side.
Oh, nice. Yeah, and you can put a cushion on there too, you know, on that mud bench. That would be really nice.
Yeah.
So here's the pictures of the father-in-law space. So you have the kitchenette area. This picture is not quite complete. What did you put in there?
So yeah, so for Grandpa, he has a refrigerator, a gas cooktop with micro, and it's a dishwasher, and that's what fit into that space. And
Wow.
and we actually did a Murphy bed on the other side. So we did which is like the beds you. This was not through Adair. It's something we did after we moved in. Just did a Murphy bed that folds up against the wall, so he actually has more of a space to utilize, and then pulls it down when he goes to bed. That was the idea, although like he's never actually put it up, so I'm not questioning it a little bit. But yeah, those were a few of the elements that went into it, and then you can see in the bathroom as well. We did, he's not in a wheelchair currently, but we did a custom request for a roll-in shower, knowing that that's at some point that's likely, that very well could be the case. So we want to be prepared for that, and which turned out really well. It turned out really well.
Yeah, and the grab bars and the seat are something that we do fairly often, I would say, for people. And we have made some, selections that people can look at for that type of thing. I know I found a grab bar that actually glows in the dark, so something like that would be really handy near a toilet, for in the middle of the night visits, things like that. So we are looking at those accessibility fixtures for our customers, and we're going to be adding those. So here is your outdoor living area. No furniture yet in this photo, but you love it.
Yeah, I mean, we extended the high ceilings out into the back patio area. I did a fireplace outside, and it turned out great. We use the space. We've been in the house for a few months now, so we use the space almost every night so far since we've been in there. And
is that a gas fireplace?
Gas fireplace. It's a product that we can custom request through Adair. We have it as through one of our standard vendors, and yeah, it turned out fantastic. We actually put a TV above there so we can watch TV outside.
Okay.
And,
yeah.
It actually turned out really, really well. Extended around the corner there we have our outdoor kind of smokers around the corner, which we had a gas line placed for that.
Around the right side?
Yeah, you can see it on the right in front of the 3 windows on the left-hand side there.
Oh, okay. Wonderful. So, and then you used a cultured stone facade for the fireplace.
Yeah, we did that. We had it's the same stone that's on the front of our house.
Well, that's great. Looks really sharp, and you have a nice. Nobody's built behind you, correct?
Yeah, it's open green space.
Yeah, that's lovely. So here's your master bath. Did a nice makeup counter for Jenny, and the soaker tub, and then another wall of it's quartzite, white quartzite. And I think it shows really nicely in there and adds a brightness.
Yeah, that was we do. It's a product that we offer standard, and we just extended it up through a custom request up to the ceiling, and pre-wired for that mirror light in the middle there. We pre-wired for that, and then that was something we installed ourselves afterwards, and that's the vanity makeup station. I didn't know it was even called actually until I was just it's the light with the chair. Yeah, and then that's all. The tile is a standard tile we offer on the floor, and also in our master shower. The floor of the master shower is a standard tile as well.
And the mirrors. So you supplied the mirrors after. That's something I do see on home orders too. People like to dress up their mirrors.
We installed those are mirrors that we purchased ourselves and installed them afterwards. It was it's the mirrors that we have standard at Adair are great, and we actually have them in our other bathrooms. And but my wife had been on Pinterest for the better part of the year, picking out things that she wanted, and
Mhm.
we purchased those separately, and then I learned how to install lights or mirrors into tile. That was quite an experience,
Oh,
or
wow.
into stone, actually, I should say.
Oh,
So
wow. How do you do that?
I'm not sure how to do it well yet, but I did it.
Good job.
Josh,
Fantastic.
we have a question going back to Grandpa's shower. If the shower is a zero curb or if that's an option that we offer at Adair.
I'm not that familiar with, that was a custom request. So we don't have a standard roll-in shower. What I did is I went to the website from our standard vendor and picked the one that I wanted specifically, and then just I actually gave that to our sales team to request that from purchasing. So that's the same type of experience that a customer could have. They could pick the one that they liked when they found. They just have to make sure they're using one of our vendor websites. Then they could put the request in through our sales team, and they could install that. So certainly we could do that. They just have to pick that particular shower.
I know we have done those zero entry shower entrances for people in wheelchairs and things.
Great. Okay.
So
Yeah.
So this lessons learned. You've worked here at Adair for a long time. You're a part of everyday process and selling and the customer's experience. So what did you learn? What did you have any surprises?
Well, one of the things that we definitely learned and took back and implemented was, and not just because of the experience that I had, but also because of other experiences, that we moved the color selection process to right before we start construction, where we used to make selections up front. But you think about our order, we started this process a year before our house was completed, not because the Adair process started earlier, it's just because we couldn't start it. And we had a number of products that were discontinued that we had to reselect later. So we've since changed that process where we still include products in the home order. That way it's correct. No, it's the budget's correct, but we don't do color selections, final color selections, and we verify that right before we start to ensure that that way there aren't any discontinued products for that. And that's one change we did make, and to make that buying process a little easier for everybody.
I think it's better for discontinued products and that time gap between when you pick something and when you're actually building. But it's also good for just the huge avalanche of decisions that you have to make when you're going to build a house. You're picking a plan, you're picking all the things that are important to you. You're trying to figure everything out, and then on top of that, you're going to be designing your entire house. It's overwhelming, and so I'm actually very grateful that we've pushed that out a little bit to just let people breathe a little bit in the process, and then it also gives them time to go look on Pinterest and really hone in on the look that they're after before they're right on their build. So I think that's really great. I'm really excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what was the most challenging aspect of your build?
Well, I'd say that I'm, as an employee and knowing our process and having quite a bit of experience, I'm certainly ahead of what the average most people would be going into this process. But I would say that not the most challenging, but certainly the most important parts of it is really understanding the property. So going in and I found out some elements about the property that I was buying that I didn't know going in front. So as an example, it's in a subdivision, so you'd expect it to be public sewer. However, and that's what I actually had thought going into it, even when I had bought the lot, or when I was going through the process of buying it. But once I went down and did the jurisdictional visit, went through and really understood all the elements of the property, there actually was like a septic system that was necessary. So it just reinforced the importance of the unknowns, because we know what the price that the lot's going to be. We know with the house, the price of the house is going to be. Really, all the unknowns are related to the actual property. So I actually, I'm grateful that I went through and we have a checklist that's a jurisdictional checklist, went through and asked all the questions, and that's where I found that out. So that was really an important aspect of it. The another aspect that really it's challenging is just being patient. It's well worth the payoff at the end. I mean, you get the house that I got the house that we wanted, and we're so happy with the process was great, the experience was great, and we're just really happy with the home. My family's happy, my daughter's happy, the dog is really happy because we were in an apartment, you couldn't even go outside. So, but it's just being patient throughout the process because we ran into a few obstacles with the subdivision that delayed it, and what started off as 3 months in an apartment, ended up being a year in an apartment. So it's the stuff that's outside of Adair and outside of the process and kind of the unknowns related to that actually can be the most challenging. But I think having the right mindset going into it and knowing that there can be some things that you can't account for everything up front.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk a little bit more about going and doing the jurisdictional visit, because we say those words all the time, but it doesn't necessarily translate to somebody who's just thinking about building. So when you go to do a jurisdictional visit, you're going to take your plot numbers, your coordinates, and then you go and visit with somebody and you figure out if you're on floodplain, what all do they tell you about your property?
Yeah, well, the feasibility part of buying a lot is really important. So what we did is we put in we found the lot, we liked the lot, we didn't want to lose the lot, so we put an offer in. We did a 90-day close with a feasibility period. So it was contingent on us selling our house, but we also had a feasibility period. So we had 30-day feasibility, which means that we have 30 days to figure out whether or not the entire project works. If not, we get our earnest money back. Okay. So we put the offer in, locked it up. So now we have 30 days. The clock was ticking to figure it out. And one of the first steps is going down to the actual jurisdiction that issues the building permits and verifying all aspects of the property. So that's verifying, well, does it have septic? Is it on it? Does it, what's the building envelope? Where can you actually build the home? How long is that process going to take? Is there sprinkler systems that are required? Are there, is there a floodplain? Is there
snow load?
Is there other,
wind?
When there's the jurisdiction, we have a checklist that you fill out you just go through and ask all the questions. And some of the questions, I wasn't even certain. They actually said it was a Steph septic system, and I didn't know what a Steph system. I hadn't heard of one before. So, and actually, very few people that I've talked to actually have heard of that system. So then I was able to contact our construction superintendent that was going to be building the home, Jeff out of Woodland, and he explained to me what it was and talked to our excavator and to get more information on that and got a bid for it. So it's the important first step. And I think there's always a concern, and we see that with a lot of our customers, is that the process may seem backward at times, but it's really important to put the offer in, get the feasibility, and then if it doesn't work out, you just get your earnest money back and move on to another property. And that process proved valuable for me.
And that is necessary to put the earnest money down and put an offer on the house for a site visit by one of our Adair supers.
That's absolutely, yeah. Our team, so our construction superintendent in the location that the person would be building in, that's responsible for helping evaluate the site. That's part of that process. So we put an offer on the land, we had the feasibility period, then we met the construction superintendent on the job site, we walked it, we measured, we figured out where the house would sit. We talked about all the entire process, how long it was going to take, all the elements that needed to happen, what my responsibilities were, making sure I understood that, and it's invaluable. And that's we do that all for free. So it's a service because we want to make sure we set out all of our customers for success. And most of us, like even though I work at Adair, and I've been here quite a long time, I'm not an expert on building homes because that's what our construction superintendents do. And so for me to be able to go meet with an expert and have them give me all the information that I need to be successful was really important.
So you were basically an Adair, you built with Adair using our regular system, which gives you customer to-dos. So how did you navigate those with your family?
Yeah, well, we have the typical Adair process, which is Adair is responsible for pouring the foundation, building the home. The customer is responsible for pulling together the site development portion of it. And we help every customer with that. We also have a turnkey program where a customer can opt for us to manage majority of those elements on the site development side. So I opted to do it myself. I really wanted to have the experience that most of our customers have. Many of our customers select turnkey, but a lot of customers don't. So I chose to go through that process, and I'm glad I did. It was a really good experience. It was, and I had to lean heavily on our construction superintendent to make sure I had all the information I need. I had all my bids correct. I was doing all the things that I needed to do, but it wasn't. Going down the jurisdiction, understanding the property. I had to get a bid for an excavation bid. I had to pull together some concrete flat work bid. I mean, we're talking about just a few things that I had to do and manage. And it wasn't. Even though I hadn't gone through the process, you wonder, is this how is this going to be? But what I found was that it wasn't challenging. Those elements of it wasn't challenging, and then also having our construction team be able to reaffirm to me, yep, you got everything you needed. This is right, and that was really helpful.
Awesome. So now that you're living in your home, you've been there about 2 months.
Yeah.
Moved in June. Is there anything that you just kind of wish you would have done differently or added?
That's a good question.
Or maybe your wife, maybe Jenny says, "Oh, I wish I added more storage." Or
there's a few things. I actually things that some outlets, gas lines, some things that I thinking through. Would I some plugins in my garage? Did I think through hey, am I going to put some equipment here that I'm going to want to have the ability to plug it into the wall, into electrical. So little things like that. And also just measuring. One of the things that we did, and which helped, but we could have done a little bit better, is understanding the size of some of the rooms. Our master bedroom ended up a little larger than what we probably needed, and probably have a couple of feet of space that could have been I could have used in the living room. But I think there's always little things, but for the most part, we took our time, and the team, the process we went through allowed us to make sure we had everything that we needed.
Awesome, that's great. Any other tips or anything for people contemplating building with Adair?
For my wife, she was she's not in the home building industry. She's a nurse. She's not doesn't have any experience with that, and she had concerns going into the process because she was, even though she knows that I work here and she's trusts me, but she sometimes it really is the unknowns, and I think that it's common to have those feelings about, hey, can we do this? Can we be successful? And now that we've gone through the process, she's ready to do it. Not ready to do it again today, but very excited about someday doing it again, because it's something about that. It's something about when you're involved in the process and you have your hands in the process, it makes it that much more rewarding. So I think that realizing that we do this as a company, and this is more just overall, we've done this 21,000 times, and we know how to take a customer through the process. So it was great to see that actually live out. It was a good experience, and we're happy. I'd say that I think going through the custom path was good for us, and getting a chance to meet with the drafting team to be able to work with us on our customizations was also something that, if someone's looking for a custom home or doing something that's moving a lot of things around, changing it, paying the deposit to get that experience was something that I definitely would recommend.
Yeah, I think that deposit is actually a lot less than what you would go and pay an architect at an architecture firm. I want to say, it's going to be about a third.
Yeah, it is, and it's also just applies to the transaction. It's not a fee; it's a deposit. So.
Yeah. Is there questions, Carrie?
Yes, Lori Lynn would like to know if the windows in your home are standard.
So some of the windows are. We did a request to change the style of a number of our windows to fixed windows. So our windows in the front of our home and some in the back of our home actually don't open. They're fixed. So that's an element of a modern look that we wanted. And but other than that, other than that, the rest of the windows are standard.
All right. And looks like that's about it. We will be reaching out to you guys after the seminar for any questions you may still have, and the information that some of you requested. And other than that, go ahead and wrap us up.
Thank you so much for spending time with us today. We hope you learned a lot and enjoyed your time, and we wish you health and safety out there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.